Hello Flosstube, it's Lori of MischievousStitches. I want to welcome everyone to my channel this weekend. I'm very glad that you're here with me. I've got several things to show you for my stitchy adventures this week. I have a puppy update, I have a finish, I have a small piece that I kitted up today that I'm going to start this evening. I have a whip that I've ironed up and hope to get some stitches into this week, and a couple of giveaway winners. So I hope you'll grab yourself a cup of coffee or an ice cold glass of tea and sit back and let's have a chat. So this week we've continued potty training with Hank. He actually turns 10 weeks today. He seems to have gained some weight and put on a little more muscle because his harness that we bought him as a puppy when we first got him to bring him home is still fits, but it's not going to fit for long. Seems like he's gotten a little bit longer as well, and so he's growing and he's healthy. He loves to chew right now, so that he must be teething, and so we took him to PetSmart this week, and of course you can take your dogs with you. We had him harnessed up, had a leash, and took him in, and he enjoyed that trip because of course there's other animals in there and lots of children. And as soon as we walked in and he heard the voices of children, he reacted immediately. I know the breeder that we got him from, she had small children as well, and I'm sure that's why. But it was a sweet thing for me to see because I was curious how he would react to small children, and it was a very positive experience, so I'm happy about that. He's still chewing. He still has my outside flip-flops he loves to chew on. He doesn't do that inside, but he's learning the word no. And when we made that trip to PetSmart, we got a couple of the dog bones for him to chew on, so that's really helped with that nipping and biting as well. So we're going to continue to work with him and watch him grow, and I'm still really excited about having this new puppy. And thanks to all of you that have reached out and missed him in the last video. I'm sorry, but you're going to miss him in this one too. I'll have to do a small video with Hank in it because of course he's a puppy, so he's very rambunctious and into everything. He has been up here in my stitch room with me. I want him to, just like with a human child, I want him to get acclimated to it and know what's off limits and what isn't, what he can get into up here. But he comes up here at night. I'll usually come up around 9:30 or so. And this week he's come up and he will either fall asleep right at my feet while I'm stitching, or he'll climb up on the love seat here and he'll sit here beside me and fall asleep. So just that warmth of that little body just brings me happiness, because when my daughter Chelsea moved out and took her cat Rick, that's where it was his spot as well, and I enjoyed having him here. So when it gets a little colder in the coming months, when it gets a little colder, a little cooler, I'm going to look forward to having that little space heater right beside me. So all of you that asked about Hank, thank you. I will continue to share Instagram pictures of him as well as he grows so that you can see it with me. But to all you mom and dad dog owners out there, thank you for the love and support, because he's just bringing me joy. I'm enjoying him so much. So this week I made a finish. I had picked this up 2 weeks ago. This was an older whip. I would have to look back to see exactly when I started it. I want to say it was around 2018. Lynette of Homesteaded on the Home Front had started this as a stitch along, and it was Quaker Handwork by Brenda with Dyed Needle and Thread. And here's the piece. Here it is here. And I am stitching it on a piece of XG Designs, or did stitch it on a piece of XG Designs Grandma Slip. And here it is. I really love the colors in this one, the reds, the beige, the undertones of the yellow. I just really enjoyed it. So I don't know why, I just didn't get into it when I started it as a stitch along. I try to join stitch alongs, but I never seem to stick with them like I'm supposed to. I don't know whether it's just my rebellious nature, where when I have to stitch or feel like I must stitch on something, that's the last thing I want to stitch on. But it seems like when I join stitch alongs, that's what happens. So I'm happy to have this one knocked out. So I'm way behind in the game if I indeed started this in 2018. But she gives you a spot to put a few initials, and I think she put her children. Well, I have one more child than she does. So what I ended up doing is I put my husband's initials here, my initials here, and then I have just my children's first initials. So you have Jacob, and you have Jordan here, and you have Chelsea over here. So I do have our initials in here. I started to leave the pieces of the alphabet out because it just the scattering of them, though, kind of intrigued me, and I did like the way that it looks, and it takes up some of that negative space. But this is my finish on Quaker Handwork. I do plan on ordering a frame for this one, and I'm going to try I will frame it myself. I'm confident I can do that. I've done that with other pieces. If you watched my last video, I shared with you some framing that I had done at a local Hobby Lobby, and that I was planning to take them back because when I picked them up, I noticed it, but when I got home and you know, gave it a good once over, they had framed over some of the stitches. Just what it was the frame was not cut right. And so when I took them in yesterday, it wasn't the gentleman I was with last week. This gentleman just was very kind, apologetic, questioned me as soon as he saw I walked in with, you know, already framed pieces. The frames have already been ordered. Unfortunately, the God Bless America, of course, it's part of the song, or the mountains, and the part in the song about the mountains, the frame had that zigzag on the edge, and that's what drew me to it. So it was a silver that had been lightly brushed with blue, which matched the blue in the piece, and it reminded me of mountains for the wording of the piece. It is no longer in stock, so not necessarily in the store, but they're unable to get it right now. So I had to go with a different frame, and I was kind of on the fence with it, but we'll see how it goes. The other one, same frame, bigger size, but he knew exactly just what I was, even you guys were commenting back to me in the comments last week. The gentleman who measured it originally did measure it to my specifications, but did not take the inside lip of the frame where the glass nests into the piece in the back, and did not take that into consideration when he was measuring. So that is the reason for the mistake. But on my part, this was a new to me person. The one that's been framing for me for the past 3 years is no longer at this establishment. And this guy was new to me, and I should have questioned, and I didn't. I thought, you know, he's working here, he knows what he's doing. You know, he didn't need me to tell him, but obviously I was incorrect. So I won't hesitate if in the same situation that I don't speak up again. But like I said, I think I'm going to give myself a chance to order a piece for myself, have it sent to me, and frame it myself. And I say that because even the places locally are still, due to COVID issues, what I'm being told, are having trouble getting frame or moldings in. So I'm going to see what I can find online, see what I can find better, and give that a try. And who knows, I might like it so much I never go the other way again, because a lot of the cost is either going to be the glass, the addition of different types of glass to protect our needlework, as well as the stretching and the pinning. And this particular place pins it, and I'm very comfortable doing that. So like I said, I'm just going to give it a try. So I'm really glad to have that finished. And then this doesn't seem like a lot of threads, but I'm looking forward to throwing these back into my stash of threads so I can use them on a future project. It feels really good to knock out another whip for this year. I hope I'm going to squeeze out a few more before the end of this year. So I did plan on making a new start this evening. It's going to be a quick one. I hope to finish it tonight. And this is going to be the Prairie Schooler. This is Christmas Tree Farm, and I told you all about this one last week, but I didn't show you the picture because it was in my purse. So it's just one of the cards from It's just one of the cards from Prairie Schooler. I love these little things. I've gotten them as gifts or in cards, Christmas cards or birthday cards before, and I'm going to make a start on that. And I picked up the threads while I was at Hobby Lobby yesterday. And they're not quite as red, of course, as this picture shows. It's bright red, but it's not. It's actually DMC 304, which has a little bit of pink in it. It's like a fuchsia color. And so I'm going to dig through my stash. I keep all my little remnants. I should have something that fits it just perfect. And let's see, the other thing I picked up, this was a start I made about 2 years ago now. And this is the let's see, The Lord is My Shepherd. And it is by Silver Creek Samplers. And I picked this up at a Katrina Boyd retreat. And I like to make a start when I'm in a new start when I'm in a retreat, kit something up and make a start so I have memories stitched into every fiber of that fabric. And this was the piece I picked up there. Let me give you a closer look. Let me see this. The threads in here. Now I changed the thread colors a little bit, not a lot. Can you see this? This is the thread colors. And I picked, it's mainly the Gentle Art threads with a couple of the Weeks Dye Works. And I picked up, someone asked me too, what are my favorite needles, what size? And I love the 28 Bowen needles. I like the smaller needles. I stitched with one thread, so it seems like the small eye on these 28s also hold that thread in there better in the eye of the needle. Because if you know what I mean, as you're stitching along and you're stitching with one thread, all of a sudden the thread slipped from your needle, the eye of the needle, and you're having to rethread it. So that's one of the reasons I really like the tiny ones. I did pick up some of the tulip needles my last trip down to Jacksonville, Florida, at a shop there, and I like those too. So those are my favorites. I like the smaller ones. And I had that nestled away in a bag, one of the envelope pouches I had made when I first started doing YouTube videos. So there's that. Let me show you the piece and where I'm at. Where did I stick it? Oh, it slipped off my lap into the floor. And this is on a piece of Beach Walk hand-dyed linen by Under the Sea Fabrics. And you can't tell it in the what you can see there, but it has some undertones of pinks and maybe a peachy pink, which I thought worked well with this pattern. And it's on a much bigger piece than I need, so I really need to cut it down and make it a little easier to stitch in hand with. But I got a big piece of it because Leslie happened to be at that retreat, and I wanted to purchase some of her fabrics. So there's that. And so it's not going to take that long because words seem to go a little faster than, of course, full stitches. What else do I have going on? I have a couple of giveaways, and then I have an apology. Because when I pulled issue 12 and 17 last weekend, I've been going through my stash and pulling things out that I've either stitched or I've been gifted and don't necessarily plan to stitch. And so I had piles. I pulled from my pile. But I did have some sampler and antique needlework quarterlies. So the ones that won the giveaway from last week are going to get a sampler and antique needlework quarterly issue, but not the ones I showed in the last video. So I want to apologize for that. I should have been more careful. Okay, the ones that won the giveaway was Glee Hansen and Brenda Foy. And so since those issues were 12 and 17, these two are in order, and these are 21 and 31. So Glee is going to get issue number 21, and then Brenda Foy will get issue number, or volume number 31. So congratulations, ladies. I have not yet left a message on your comment, but I will do that after this video uploads. But if you know either Glee or Brenda, shoot them a message and let them know that they won this so that they can get in touch with me. My email address is listed in the description box below. So this week I have two new giveaways I'd like to share with all of you. And one's going to be the piece I just finished, Quaker Handwork. And let me show you just one more time. So That way you're sure you want to stitch it. I think it's beautiful. I love the colors. I stitched it on 36 count, one thread over 2 linen threads, and I used the called for colors, which was both Weeks DMC and Gentle Art. And I think it's beautiful. So if you'd like to win this one, leave a comment with red bird in it. Make sure that you do not mention that it's a giveaway, that if you're under 18, that you have your parents' approval to enter. Just the normal rules. Just don't advertise that it's a giveaway. But if you'd like to be entered for this one, mention red bird. The other one is going to be this piece. I'm sharing this because this is one that I've stitched up to. Finished this sometime last year. This is in full glory, and it's by Blackbird Designs. I actually have this now in one of the books, so I'm more than happy to give this one away, because if I want to stitch it again, I have it. And this is how I finished it. I took some of my son's NJROTC pins and some pins that I had thrifted from some of the junk shops and antique shops I frequent, and I put some buttons. And I think I've got Navy and Army here, but some of them are my son's pins from his NJROTC days. And of course now he's in the Air Force. So, and those that have asked about Jacob, he's doing great. He is still in Montana. He does like it there. I love to hear the stories and the differences between here and there. And it's just the landscape and the type of animals you see that roam free, those kind of things. He enjoys it, but he should be home, and we're planning on him coming home in November. So if nothing comes up, we'll see him then. But once again, this is that piece, and it has a piece of wool here, and I had to change the colors because I cut the whole piece was going to be this color, and I cut my piece of wool wrong, and I had a small piece, so I had to do two different colors. And then I just seamed the two pieces together. You can barely even see that this is two pieces of wool, and then I'm covering part of the seam with this patriotic ribbon and this navel button. So there's that. So with this one, if you'd like to be considered for this one, just talk about Old Glory. So Old Glory and Red Bird. So there you go. So this week I'm going to continue to stitch. I'm just going to stitch on whatever calls to me at the moment, and hopefully it's the Lord is my shepherd, and if it isn't, I'll pick up something else. But I've finally gotten a few days off from work, and we were going to head to the coast, to the beach. And those that are on the east coast of the U.S. know that there's a hurricane coming in, and so like now it's been raining on and off for a couple of days. I think it's headed up to the northern part of the eastern seaboard. So to those in its path, you have my prayers. But as of right now, it's been throwing a lot of rain this way over the past couple of days, and we've had a really wet summer here, and it's been good for my veggies. But it's been a very mild summer, thankfully, because of all that rain. But it is very unusual for us. Other than that, I'm just going to enjoy the week. We're going to try to get away somewhere. We've got a couple of little things planned, but we didn't plan very well with this week that I took. Hank isn't old enough for us to leave in one of the local boarding places. And he's due for his next shots this week too, and that was another thing. Until he had all of his shots and he was old enough, we can't board him. So we didn't want to inconvenience anyone near, within our friend group or our family group to watch him. But two, we still want him to have that one-on-one attention for a while he's a puppy, because Clint or I are always home, one or the other of us. So we've made the decision, unless we just go for a day or two, we're not going to go for the whole week now. But I'm still going to enjoy my time away, time to regroup, time to just rest my weary mind is much needed right now. And I'm very thankful to have this time. Someone stepped in to help me, because it's been 2 years since I've taken a vacation, and I'm in the point where I use it or lose it. I use my leave or I use it by the end of the year. So friends stepped in and gave me some assistance, and I'm so thankful for that, and I hope to repay the favor to someone else at some point, because I'm not the only one in this situation. And but I'm going to enjoy every minute of it. I'm going to do my best to stay away from my phone tomorrow. I think I'm just going to turn the ringer off so I don't hear it. Just disconnect from work totally. But anyway, I'm rambling, so I'm going to stop there. You're here for the cross stitch, and I'm talking about many other things. But thanks for visiting with me today, for taking a few moments of your weekend to stop by, to say hi, and enter the giveaway. I'm very thankful for that. Have a great week, and I'll see you back again soon. Bye-bye.